Hey, it's Jason Simpson, Chief Meteorologist at WVTM 13 in Birmingham, and it has been an extremely active tornado season so far, and we're not even technically to the peak of this thing yet. The peak actually happens in our neck of the woods somewhere in the neighborhood of about April 15th to April 30th, and we already have, get this, 48 reported tornadoes across the state of Alabama this calendar year, going back to January through Feb, March, and now here into early April. A typical year for us would be about 50 to 60, so we're already close to not just an above average year, but looks like we're probably going to get way on up there, especially if we add additional severe weather here in the near future. Well, here's some of the tracks. You go down into South Alabama. We've had the most recent, the 48th, happened early this morning down in Houston County. There's some video of it. And then around Tuscaloosa County, Chilton County, and south of there, we had some of the more significant tornadoes back in January. And then most recently, it's this one. The one that hit Hazel Green late Friday night, early Saturday morning, up around Fisk, and then went up into southern Tennessee. One fatality reported with that one. There's also one that doesn't show up as a track, but it was here close to Sardis City in northeastern Etowah County, right on that Boaz-Sardis line along the Marshall-Etowah County line. So what explains this? Well, the ENSO cycle has a little bit to do with it. ENSO is the El Nino Southern Oscillation, and what you see here in front of you are two maps. This is the El Nino years, and the browns and the orange colors here. This represents lower than normal activity. Well, in La Nina, there's typically higher than normal activity. That's the blues and purples in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. We're coming out of a really strong La Nina, and what we have learned, at least anecdotally, maybe not necessarily on paper in some research journal, I haven't read it, but this is something that I have heard for a long, long time, and it seems to work, is that anytime we're coming out of La Nina, moving into that transition, whether it be to a neutral phase or to an El Nino, which seems like we're rapidly moving toward El Nino, we can get some really nasty tornado events across the Deep South. Now, define the Deep South how you will. I look at it like Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia. We've had our fair share, but there's also been a lot of activity up to our north, too, in those typical above-average zones in a La Nina season. So there's not really a lot you can read into it on a year-to-year basis. We come out of La Ninas and go into El Ninos all the time, but we just tend to have a little heightened awareness when we are coming out of La Nina into a neutral or into a El Nino kind of setup. So here's the setup that we have for tonight. This is Monday night, looking ahead into Tuesday. This is our next storm system, this thing out west, and you can already see that the pressures are falling here out over the western U.S. This upper air storm system is going to come in. This trough out here is going to kick off a big round of severe weather over the Central Plains states, into the upper Midwest, all the way back down into Texas. Around here, this particular feature doesn't really affect us that much. As it ejects out toward the northeast, it leaves a cold front that, yes, it's going to bring us some showers and thunderstorms, but I think it's clear to see that the worst of the activity is going to be out west of Alabama this go around. So you've got a moderate risk, and we're recording this here at about 9:30 on Monday evening. So there's a chance this could be upgraded maybe to an area of high risk at some point. Usually when you've got a moderate on day 2 or day 3, there's a pretty good chance it could get upgraded. I don't know that that'll happen. That's up to the Storm Prediction Center. And really it doesn't matter because we're talking about something that we know is going to be a big significant issue in Arkansas and then up into Iowa, western Illinois, northeastern Missouri, almost the same places that were hit hard back on Friday. So then what happens with it? Well, it moves our direction, and there's a marginal risk of severe weather for most of north and west Alabama, Sumter County through Greene up to Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Blount, Cullman, and then north of there through the Huntsville area over to the Shoals. Marginal risk, meaning there is a limited threat of some isolated severe storms. Now, I think we're going to get quite a bit of rain up in this zone, but the gusty winds and hail, limited tornado risk, that is probably more confined up into this area than anywhere else, probably well northwest of Birmingham. And thinking about it, same places that have been hit multiple times, Marion County, Winston, Cullman, Morgan, Madison, Limestone, Lawrence County, Franklin County, Colbert County, Lauderdale County. We're just going to see this over and over and over. But I have good news for you. After this, I think we're going to get maybe about a 10 to 14 day break from severe weather threats. But let's get into the nuts and bolts of how this is going to work for us. Overnight into Tuesday, not a lot of action. But check this out. We've got all this south wind here, a mostly sunny sky. Temperature is going to soar on Tuesday, and that is going to send the instability values surging. We may use that for a few isolated storms on Tuesday, but then it really gets active out here to the west. Look at this fueling the big storms that we're expecting Tuesday into early Wednesday. Just a pipeline of CAPE, convective available potential energy. Then into Wednesday evening, we've got this band of showers and thunderstorms that's out to the west. There is plenty of fuel around here, especially northwest Alabama into Mississippi, that when this wind shift line comes in, some of these storms could be pretty raucous. And it's possible that a couple of them get into Birmingham and Huntsville, but I still think that we are probably generally looking at more of a northwest Alabama issue. Places like Florence and Littleville, Russellville, Red Bay, Hamilton, Hackleburg, Haleyville, Double Springs, Cullman, Morgan County, Limestone County. These areas are more primed for this because of where we have the greatest amount of fuel. So into Wednesday night, this system just gets stuck. So we end up with heavy thunderstorms overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And this, by the way, is why we have an impact day up for for Thursday, because I think the bigger impact, at least for central Alabama, for Marion County and Winston County, would be in the overnight into early Thursday hours. So there you see the Cape. We still have this limited threat of maybe a severe storm, Tuscaloosa, Pickens, Greene, Sumter, Marengo, Choctaw counties. And we've lost a lot of the fuel up to the north by that point. So then what happens on Thursday? Not a lot of movement in that line of storms. So we still have rain here. We've got that wind shift line that set up Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, St. Clair, Etowah counties. And because of where that is and the fact that we have plenty of instability, there still could be a few locally heavy thunderstorms around here on Thursday afternoon as well. So we're going to keep a close eye on it. 7-day forecast looks like this. We have isolated storms on Tuesday. Look at these numbers Tuesday afternoon. Upper 80s, Tuscaloosa, Bessemer, Brent. These same areas today on Monday, we're in the 60s and low 70s, and then where we're expecting mid-80s in Asheville and Gadsden, Cullman, Huntsville, we barely got above 60. On Wednesday, we get the hit-or-miss storms, and both of these 2 days, both Wednesday and Thursday, are minimal threat as far as severe weather goes. Might be a storm or two. Then we get into Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, limited risk of a tornado, and this is 9 p.m. Wednesday. We'll have to watch out for a storm or two that may develop out here in Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Pickens counties, but there's the main body of storms up there. So late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, we get the storms developing through here. Not much for Birmingham, not much Anniston, Gadsden, points south down toward Montgomery, and then it just keeps on rolling from there. So through 3 p.m. Thursday, we still get the showers and thunderstorms. Friday, Good Friday, periods of rain and a few thunderstorms. Saturday, based on some of the latest guidance, the GFS, the 12Z, the 18Z runs were both pretty good about not having a lot of rain around on Saturday. Something that we'll watch, especially Saturday afternoon. And then maybe, just maybe, we get through Easter Sunday pushing the rain out, but likely hanging on to some clouds. And then even Monday of next week, a chance of a few isolated showers. We're not getting the big storm systems through over the Easter weekend, but there will be enough moisture around, enough instability, and enough disturbances in the atmosphere to get at least a few scattered showers and thunderstorms going. And look how cool it is. Highs in the 60s. Good Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Morning lows in the 50s. Not going to need the AC for this Easter weekend.